utterly obsessed in a grief-stricken kind of way at how things change so drastically and so rapidly in your absence, or when you finally stop monitoring things, or when you finally stop looking at things, when you turn your attention off it for just a few seconds, and those few seconds morph into minutes and days and weeks and years, and before you know it, you can't remember the last time you were here, but you find yourself here again, and it's almost a full circle moment, and you get to see that things continue growing after you. Because of you sometimes, but after you, alongside you. And I don't know, I could go to a museum exploring that really complicated theme that I can't really put into words, and it's the fact that things grow with you through your life. Like, you're not the only thing in existence that's impermanent. Even though other things around us look sturdy and structured and made of cement, and like there was a lot of intention put into the architecture and the physics of things so that they look like they're stable. Brands that look like they're going to outlive all of us, but they too are changing, just like you, and they too are perhaps impermanent. That is my cocaine. Thank you very much. Prime examples. My high school was on this highway that intersected a bunch of orange groves. And I remember sleeping in the bus in the mornings before the sun was even out, but cracking my eyes open just a little when we were arriving at school. And I could see that our driver used to like drive into the groves through these little dirt paths to lead us to the high school. And we were surrounded on all sides by orange groves for a while there until we arrived at the school. But now when you drive by that high school, the highway has expanded to a bunch of apartment complexes and businesses and medical offices, and there are no more orange groves, okay? There's a lot of people inhabiting. And I don't know, it's really sad to think that you never know when the last time you'll see one thing is. And I'm using the word thing a lot because you can replace thing with people. You can replace thing with homes, childhood towns, movie theaters. I don't know. You can replace thing with almost anything. Because everything's impermanent. That's what I'm trying to say. You never know when the last time you're going to see anything is. I didn't know that it was the last time I was going to see those orange groves when I graduated high school. I didn't know. But I remember looking at them on my last bus ride home, and it was a very, very sunny day, and it was perfect. There was no clouds. Everybody was ecstatic because we were graduating, and there was this buzz of conversation around us of, oh, what are your plans? What are you going to do for the summer? We're finally free. And I was looking at the orange groves like, oh, they're so beautifully orange today. And that was the last time I saw the orange groves. It makes me so sad. But I'm okay. It just makes me sad in like an existential way. And it's not just with school. Like, I just drove past my previous place of employment, and I worked there for 3 years. And yes, every part of those 3 years I was praying that I could leave, that I could do something else, that I'd rather be anywhere else. And I am now anywhere else. But of course I drive by that place again and I feel nostalgic because it's changed so much from what I knew in my 3 years there. And during my 3 years there, I felt like I belonged to that place. I felt like I was owned, like it was mine. Like we would be forever. But now, I'm driving by as a bystander, as someone who's detached from it. And it's grown and it's evolved just like I've grown and evolved. And it's like we can appreciate it. But we can't we weren't there to witness each other's growth. That's what I'm trying to say. We weren't there to experience each other's growth in our absence. And again, the same thing, I didn't know it would be my last time ever seeing that place exactly as it was back then. I only realized it years later when I come back full circle and I see how much has changed and how much I can't get back. Anyways, can someone explain what that feeling is called? Okay, I'm trying to find more pretty words to explain this concept. But it's like, let's create this hypothetical museum of impermanence. And it's dedicated to honoring the beauty of things and the fact that we are all innately in a state of evolution, even if you can't really see that we're changing right now. Because that's the thing about change. Even in science, when you try to calculate the change in temperature, you have to do the final temperature minus the initial temperature. It's a range. It means you need 2 points of comparison in order to perceive change. So you don't perceive change when you only focus on a single point. You don't perceive change when you're focusing on a single event or a single day of your life. And that's why every single day, because you're caught in every single day, you're not caught in the big range. You're not someone who can be both then and there and future and past. We're caught in the prison of today, is what I'm trying to say. And we have memories of the past, but we don't know the future. We are a single point. Am I wrong? And because we're trapped by the bounds of a single point, we don't always recognize that we are currently changing too, and everything around us is changing too. We only realize that when we finally gather more data, collect the second point, and compare it to the memory of the previous point we had. And then we do the range of difference. That's why we get that sense of nostalgia and impermanence when we return to places that we left long ago. That's why we're humbled by the magnitude of everything around us. I guess what I'm trying to say is, if we had to build a museum of impermanence, it would be hard to show people the beauty of change and evolution right before their eyes, because we as a human beings are limited to existing in just the moment. Like, we can't both be at the future and look back and see all the change. I don't know if I'm making sense. We're a single point. I guess if we were not a single point, if we were able to be ubiquitous, if we were able to be present at every different point, then we could truly appreciate how much is changing simultaneously. But we can't. We only see life through our perspective, our singularity. And sometimes we get these brief, humbling experiences where we realize, oh, we're not the only things that have changed, and we're not the only things that are going to keep changing. Like I did today, going to my old workplace. Or like the orange groves that disappeared. I don't know if you get me, but I need to write an essay about it. I guess if we truly wanted to make an accurate museum of impermanence, you'd have to have as a requirement that the guests come back again. Because their first visit to the Museum of Impermanence will not unravel the beauty of evolution before their eyes, because you need points of reference, of comparison. So the first day is just the first point. You need another point, so you need them to return. And can you feasibly do that with every single guest of the Museum of Impermanence? I don't know. And how far apart are those points going to be? Weeks, months, years? Okay? These are my thoughts while I'm sober. Okay? Okay. Here is where the concept of impermanence and mortality are at a tension. Here's the beauty. Tension is the beauty sometimes, because it helps you see the truth. Okay? Contrast helps you see what's really important in between two opposing things, right? So, in this thought experiment, if people are mortal and we are limited in how much we can live, and let's say the Museum of Impermanence is eternal, it's immortal, you can attend there infinitely, and you can see things evolve infinitely. However, a human being is limited by their mortality to only visit a number of times the Museum of Impermanence, and therefore they can never, ever, ever, ever see the full magnitude of beauty of things. They can never, ever, ever fully know the extents of change that are possible, that will happen even after they're gone. That is my hyperfix. That is my Roman Empire. I'm bringing that back. That is my Roman Empire.